Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Eclipse from CZT Lara Williams. Now, I decided on my version of the step out, I wanted to treat this like a fragment. And so let's do that here. And so we'll just draw a little box. And really, there's only two ways that you could do this. Usually with a fragment, the idea is, if you're not familiar, in each grid box or grid, because if it's an odd grid, whatever the opening is that you're putting it in, you can turn it and things so that way you create these, interesting meta shapes afterwards. And this one, just because of the nature of it, I think you can only really turn it two different ways to get a different result. I did it one way, and then I'm going to try a different way here. So this one starts off with a giant orb in the center, and you pick, of course, how big, but one of the tips, there were some really nice and helpful tips in the on Tangle Patterns. Tangle Patterns does have a link to Lara's blog, so in the description section I'm going to put a link to both just so you have it direct. It makes it a little easier. But the tips on that Linda wrote were really helpful, and some of them as I was playing with it, of course, because I didn't read everything, some of them was like, oh yeah, this would have been easier, that would have been easier. Some of the things that I ended up doing when I was playing with it, and I will share those with you. First one was, this one you really can take out of order and it's fine. Nothing really hinges on anything else. So if you find it easier, for instance, to put the giant orb in first, that's what the step outs say. But you don't have to put that in first. You could put that in afterwards, because the next step, and I did it this way as well, is we're going to do a big curve line from one end of one corner to the next, but have it just kind of barely slice that edge. So it'll be kind of a shallow curve line. And we'll do that on both sides. I teetered with the idea of putting a dot in the middle, because we're going to end up putting 3 of these curves in, but we do want them to meet in the middle. So what I decided, first I was thinking, well, we could do a big one, right to the center, but I had trouble with that as well. For some reason, this anchored me, and so what I decided to do is do the shallowest one and then do the widest one. So I'm aiming for the center. Wow, and then coming down, well, that's all right. No such thing as a mistake, right? All right, let's see if I can do it with this one. This one is easier because I can just aim to touch that. Let's see if I can get it. Yeah, like that. Looks like boomerangs. And then come back in the middle and essentially subdivide in the middle. I like to do the subdividing part. I don't know, I just find that it helps me to place things a little bit. And now it looks like 2 bananas on a plate. But do take a look at that, because there might be, some hints. Because if you find yourself frustrated with something, with anything Zentangle, it's neat creative problem solving to kind of like, all right, well, what is it exactly that's causing me the problem? And I realized for me, it's like, I need to have a foundation. I work on other things, just, on like randomness. But so if I have a foundation like this, the foundation, okay, the corners, the center could be, but yeah, it's a little tough. This was an easier foundation. It's like, oh, well, I could just slice that just a little bit. So I share that with you just hoping that it helps, when you find yourself, if you find yourself frustrated with Zentangle or just doing a tangle. All right. So this is essentially the fragment. Now, I want to try, I'll show you the one I did. I haven't done any shading on anything yet. And in Lara's step out, and let me just peek because I want to remember. Oh, and I guess yeah, Linda did the same. Okay, I'll show you that in a moment, but I want to do this because I'm itching to. All right. I was going to do it beforehand, but what I ended up doing was the way I had it in the step out, and I wanted to try this. I'm like, well, I'm guessing I'm going to just do this one. We'll do this one live. All right, so big orbs. And then we'll do some shading. Oh, the one tip, additional tip was you could do the orb last. So you could do the curve lines first and then do the orbs, because that way you could make sure that you have it, have that little sliver on the outside. All right. Okay, so let's start this one the way it is. I'm probably going to end up alternating. All right, and then while I'm over here, let's do the big one. And then subdivide. Honestly, if you wanted to, you could do all, do all three on one side, do the other three. Again, since nothing hinges on anything, it's all fine. All right, so this is the way it is in the step out, right? So I was thinking, well, let's turn it. And we'll do the thin one. Well, nope. I like being able to see this other side, and then it helps. It is fun because then we kind of find out, well, here's how I seem to work best. All right. Yeah, essentially it'll be just like on the diagonals. All right, so then this one, going back to this way, because like you could do this with any shape and do it this way, then turn, do it the same way, turn, do it the same way. I'll just do that right here. I'll start with it upside down, that way it looks like that. And then the key too, because I know some that have a challenge with the grids, if you can work to focus on just the one box and don't look at anything else, that might help. All right, so we started here, went here, went here. Now this last one, this direction. Whoops. Oh well. I was just thinking curve line. I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, I want to get that just so there's that little sliver there. It's all right. And have that meet. Yeah, it's okay. It's Zentangle. There's no such thing as a mistake. Okay. Let's do some shading, and then I will show the other. So here's one. This is the way that Lara has it. It makes sense. It's essentially, this is just all colored in with the graphite. And that is kind of nice. And you can just kind of scribble. And then just smooth it out with the tortillon. So then you don't even have to put that much graphite. That just does such a nice job. It'd be nicer if... Oh, let's see. There we go. There. So depending on how gray you want it, you just put, you could put a little less graphite. And that's kind of neat, but you know what I like kind of the alternate thing. And let's just start. I'm going to start with just like making a gradient. I might just fill those in. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Could even needs, I mean, this is also big, right? Because it's just the one box. Doing it on the smaller grid scale. Oh, I like that a whole lot. Yes, indeed. Okay. Now, if we do the same thing, well, let's just use, well, you know what? I'm going to just fill in. Could use a marker if you wanted to, you know, so that if it's just, we're just filling in. To figure out what to do with, well, we'll look at, wait a minute, where did it go? Oh yeah, it's just a little bit. Okay, all right. Oh no, it's right here. Ignore that. Oh, or I'll do what I did, but let's put it all the way on that bottom one. Yeah. Try not to have graphite remorse. All right, let's fill that in. And, you know, I mean, there are so many ways you can fill this in and have fun with it. You don't have to do it this way. You could put straight lines in, because that would be neat, because it's a contrasting shape, right? Because we have all these curves. And I might not use the tortillon on it, because it's gone on so nice on these parts. These, because it's nice to have it smoothed. I'm just putting that there because there should be a little sliver there. And it makes me feel better or something. Well, no, I'm going to, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to smooth that. Well, let's see. Let's do this. That way it covers up at least that part. Oh, one more. Interesting. I like it. All right. And while I'm talking, so this is all done in the same direction. And it's neat how we have those, you know, we kind of have big, you know, the bigger orbs, you know, and it does look like eclipsing. This, you know, ends up being just a little bit different, but it's kind of neat too. I like it. It's interesting. Also, when you take a look at the For More Inspiration link, you will see the inspiration. I think this was a fence, like a wrought iron fence or something. Ironwork of some sort. So really, really cool. All right. So while I am shading this one, let me tell you, or let me ask you actually, if you're enjoying this, would love to have you click like. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. In that description section, I mentioned links to the step outs, and I always do my own version, and then link to the creator of the Tangle. You know what? I'm going to do something different on this one. Let's fill it in. That will be fun. Okay. Oh, I could have done that on this one. See, now there. That would have been a course correction right here if I had filled this in. And for extra contrast, I think it'd be neat. So I'm going to do that while I'm talking here. You know, sometimes the shading will just cover it. whatever it is, and just make it so it's like, oh yeah, it really doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. And sometimes if you just want to fill it in, that works too. So anyway, in that description section, like I said, links to the step outs, ways to connect with me if you wish. Just so you know, I do classes twice weekly. A lot of them are free. I do them Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m., 7 p.m. here in Michigan. That is Eastern time. Apparently I ran out of room on my computer. It just all of a sudden stopped. That's fun. I needed to delete some things. All right, so if as I was saying about classes, there's ways to follow me, so that way for classes, so if you want to see what they are in your time zone, you can do that. Facebook, if you happen to be on there, there's a link to my page, and I do post there. There's also Eventbrite and Meetup.com, so if you happen to be on those are both free to you as a user. So you can always follow me there as well. If you are on Facebook and want to have some fun, hang out with a bunch of crazy but wonderful Tangle addicts, we'd love to have you join us. So there's a link to our Facebook group. Just to let you know, there are 4 questions that you need to answer to gain entry. And what else is there? I think that's probably it's probably the most important, because sometimes when you get coloring or filling things in, I was like, I'm losing track. What was I going to say? Well, that, and when the computer goes, yeah, you're done, then that just distracts me. Anyway, all of that great information is there for you. I think that's it. This looks really cool with adding the fill-in just as an extra bit of contrast. Now, of course, all of these spaces, you fill in however you want. I just think that this looks really cool. But that's where we get to have fun and play, and it's half of the like I said, half the great fun of Zentangle. I like it. Yee! Okay, very cool. There's some other tangles. I think it was called Moving Day is one that's in my head, where it's a neat geometric shape. I think it's just squares, and then because you're coloring them in alternately, it really plays on your eyeballs. So really, really cool. All right, so again, I hope you enjoyed this. Like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all of that kind of thing, and thank you for watching. And I wish you happy tangling.